Right, guys, sun's just coming out now, blazing in the window. You can see it. So we'll be out in the garden again in a few minutes after this. So yesterday was quite a big day for Bitcoin, and people were saying, "Oh, why haven't the markets moved either one way or the other?" Well, that's one of the things about Bitcoin. It moves when you don't think it will. It moves, and so there was quite a big piece of news actually that the USA, Trump in particular, has signed an executive order now to form a Bitcoin uh, reserve, strategic reserve, like so they're going to keep it like people keep gold in a vault. They're going to have Bitcoin, so everyone's expecting him to come and announce this, which they knew anyway. He was going to do it. So if there was um, any market movement on that news, it would have been when the news was announced. Because what the thing that they won't do is come on the air and sign the thing and go and buy some Bitcoin online. He's not going to do that, is he? That's not how it's going to happen. Obviously, that's and people may have had that in their mind that they're going to buy 1 million Bitcoin there and then, and so if anything, it dipped a little bit because what they said was they're not going to buy some immediately because they won't. They'll buy the dip, shall we say? They're not going to tell you when they're going to buy it because people would put the price up before they bought it. If they said we're going to buy some Bitcoin in an hour, well, that's not what you do when you buy assets. You buy them when you think the time's right. But what they have done, they formed the reserve, so it's there. It's done and dusted. USA is now adopting Bitcoin. That's the top and bottom of it. And what they're doing immediately is putting all the Bitcoin and they've got other coins as well, which they've been confiscating in the past. And they're going to actually stick to Bitcoin, which they said last few weeks back that they might do a reserve of a basket of cryptos, different ones, which they probably will in the future. But like at the moment, they're going to stick with Bitcoin. So that's what's going to happen. And what they're doing now is all this Bitcoin that's knocking about that they've confiscated, and and it'll be in various state authorities, and they're going to put that in the reserve. That's to kick it off. So that is like monumental news for Bitcoin. But it was strange the way it didn't move the market at all. There was a bit of volatility as the meeting took place in that, and but like I think that's what people thought they were going to do. Just announce that they're just going to buy like 5 million quid's worth of Bitcoin there and then, and that's not obviously. These are business people. Like Trump, he's a businessman, so he's not going to do that. Is he? It's like so they'll wait now, and they'll probably say to those who know, or those who manipulate the markets, right, we want it dropped down a little bit. Just saying, just this is how these things work. Because the immediate price is manipulated for the futures, for the speculation and the trading. They move it up and down. The people who offer the futures are the exchanges, and they're the people who can move the price. It's like when you get these people in auctions, and they get people bidding against themselves, or they have bidders, and sometimes there's no bidder there at all. They just bounce a bid off the back wall. They make believe that there's someone bidding over there. If they feel there's a strong bidder, and there's no opposite, there's no competition, they bounce it off, and they have these bidders as well who come in and bid things up, and that's what happens in the crypto immediate markets. That's why they say, "Oh, it's very volatile." You can't rely on that. But the movement over time is more or less aligned. It's just the immediate daily ups and downs, which if you're familiar with this environment, it doesn't really mean anything to you. I mean, I look at things now on like a yearly basis, a year, and I was right last year as well, almost to the dollar, how it would end up over a year, because the percentages now, if it goes up 10% in a year, which it was going up 100, 200%. Last year it went up 100, almost exactly, from January to December. 100%, double. But for it to double again, you're talking bigger figures then. You're talking bigger figures. So I don't think it'll double again this year. I think it'll 50%. So last year it was about 43,000, something like that. In January, more or less 40, but let's call it 45, and it ended up just under 100. It went above 100, but it came back down a little bit, which it's done now. But the percentages now are big figures. in dollar terms, 10% of 10 grand is a lot smaller than 10% of 100 grand. Well, that's obvious. That's obvious, but like just to point out that you're dealing now with large amounts. So people can lose in dollar amounts, lose or gain a lot of money in short spaces of time and be wiped out. But when they say wiped out, people think this money and that disappears, but it doesn't. When people get liquidated, the money goes, they've put that money in, it goes to somebody else. It doesn't disappear. The money never disappears. You might get, when the price drops, all that means is you get more Bitcoin for your money. It doesn't disappear. You get more Bitcoin. And when the price then goes up, the more Bitcoin is more dollars, isn't it? So it doesn't go anywhere. it just increases or decreases in the value of the satoshis, the pennies, and that's how it works. But it doesn't. When they say all this money got wiped out, gone, it hasn't gone anywhere. Someone else has got it, or got more coins, or got more dollars. You know, when people sell when it goes up, they get more dollars. So you get more of something, whichever way you're buying, or less of something. But like the money's the same. There's the same amount of dollars have gone in. And then when the price goes up at Bitcoin and you get more dollars, those dollars have been put in by someone else they're buying at the top. And that's where the more dollars are coming from. Someone's buying it off you when you sell it. It's very, very basic, really. Very basic stuff. And so you've got to take the view of, are you going to be a trader or are you going to be, they call it a hodler, if you hold on. It stands for hold on for dear life, hodl. It actually does, hodl. But it sounds like hold, that's what it is. So unless you need to sell it, or you're after some quick money, and you think you can beat the market, which a lot of people do. They think they can beat the market, but not many people do, because they probably have a good run, and then they'll get clobbered when they get over confidence. Like yesterday, there would have been probably a lot of people betting on the market going up, and then they'd have a stop loss, and then it actually did go down. So that's what happened. So they'll have been, as they call it, wiped out. But the money's not wiped out. They might be. The money's gone to whoever wiped them out. Hasn't it? Their dollars, the same amount of dollars gone in. So that's the trading side of it. So there's two or three aspects to Bitcoin. There's a few aspects to it, and some of them are very useful. Like if you want to move around the world, it's good. It's good for you, and especially if you're moving away from places who tax you, and they tax you in certain countries on capital gains when you sell it, although they don't recognise it as a currency or anything. You know, so they're getting both. You know, they're getting a better deal, and they don't even recognise it as a proper currency. So, but you can move into different places, and if you move for 5 years, like in my case, then you're out of the system for capital gains. You have avoided the capital gains by being out of the tax area that you once lived in, and which is great. And now you've got to keep an eye on it now, because the EU might do the same thing, and then you've got to move out to the EU, probably, maybe. And I don't have to go far. I only have to go 200 miles, and I'm out of the EU, and I'm still in the same place, really. So that might happen, but like it probably won't, because each year passes by now. I'm getting closer to like pension. This is another thing where you've got to weigh up all these things, and I'd have to like actually keep my official address in the EU or in a reciprocal place where you get the yearly pension increase, of which Bulgaria is one of them, and that might change. Anything might change, or and then you'd have to. I'd probably look at going and getting an address in the UK, probably in a park home, and then just take it from there, and then just be a perpetual traveller or whatever. And that may arise, that may happen. That you need an address over there in the future. But at the moment, the way it stands at the moment, I'm like exactly 4 years away from pension, and then I can live on that. I don't really have to touch anything unless I want to live it up a little bit, which I might do. I may well do that if I'm still here. That's another thing. Nothing's guaranteed. And I mean still here, like breathing. But I'm hoping to get a bit of loot back off them after paying in. I'm fully paid in, fully paid up, 35 years. So I have done my stint. I've done it. So can't be criticised for not being an upstanding citizen when I was there. But like, so that's monumental. What's happened? Absolutely, it's historic. And what you'll find is now that the USA has done this strategic reserve, everyone else will do it. El Salvador have already done it and gone one step further, actually, which is they've made Bitcoin legal tender. It's legal tender. You've got to take Bitcoin if you're offered it. It's legal tender, and they actually use the American dollar for their currency as well, the normal currency. And now Bitcoin is legal tender in the country, so they've gone one step further. The USA hasn't done that yet, made it legal tender. What they have done is adopted it as a legal store of value. It's like gold, you can still trade with gold as you can with Bitcoin, but it's not actually like tender. People don't have to take it, in shops, and that. They can if they want, but that's up to them. But it's not in the legal tender unless it's a sovereign. I think in the UK that is legal tender. Anyway, these are all other things that you're little tidbits. That's the best way to save in the UK. Sovereigns, by the way. I said I wasn't going to mention the UK anymore, but that's just an aside. That's the best way to save and avoid capital gains. Buy sovereigns, and then you'd be okay. If you buy a sovereign, if you can, every month, for or every quarter, shall we say, that'd be the best way to go. If I was in the UK, that's what I'd be doing, buying sovereigns. when I could afford them, and keep all your money out the bank as much as you can, and buy sovereigns and put them safely somewhere under your hat. Okay, cheers.